So today we're going to talk about how to analyze and interpret a scatter plot. And you may have never heard of a scatter plot before. A scatter plot kind of looks like what it sounds like. It's a plot or graph that shows data and the dots look scattered. It looks similar to a line graph, however, you don't generally see a line connecting the dots. We do have a trend line, which I'll talk to you about tomorrow. So these are three examples of scatter plots. What scatter plots show is they show the relationship between two variables or two pieces of data. And sometimes there is a positive relationship, sometimes there's a negative relationship, and sometimes there's no relationship at all between the two variables. So I'm going to show you lots of examples of different relationships on scatter plot. So take a look up here. It's kind of hard to see on the video. Make sure that as you're watching these videos that you take notes as you're able. I don't expect you to copy down all these scatter plots. Take notes when I give you definition and when I give you examples to work out. Bring those notes to class tomorrow and we'll talk about them some more and practice some more. So here's an example of a scatter plot that shows a positive correlation. So we have two variables, height and weight. And you can see that these scattered dots appear to be increasing. They appear to be going up. So when you see the dots and they look like they're going up, this is a positive correlation. They're going up from left to right. You read a graph the same way you would read words or problems in math, from left to right. So when it looks like those dots are increasing or going up, it's a positive correlation. And this makes sense if you think about it. As your height increases, your weight increases. Scatter plots show real life data, so it's not always going to be the case. For example, you might have a short person that is a low weight. You can see low height, low weight. You might have a very tall person over here that has a higher weight. So increase height, increase weight. However, just like in real life, you could have a shorter person that is very heavy, has a high weight. You might have a dot over here. Same way, you could have a really tall person that's really has a low weight. Really tall person that looks really thin, so their weight is low. So scatter plots show real life data, and the dots do not always connect. You might have a random dot out here or out here. But in general, the trend is that as weight increases, height increases, or as height increases, weight increases. Did you notice that I said the word increase, increase? In a positive relationship or correlation, what happens to one set of variables as the other set increases? They also increase. So you can write that down. In a positive correlation, you have both variables increasing. So you could have an increase, increase, or you could have a decrease, decrease. So the variables are doing the same thing. You can either say as height increases, weight increases, or you could say as height decreases in this data, weight decreases. I'll show you another example of a decrease, decrease. All right, let's talk about negative. This is an example of a negative correlation. It's the opposite of a positive correlation. So you see the dots are going down. They're generally going down from left to right. In this example, you see the age of a car and the value of the car. And if you think about it in real life, the newer the car, the higher the value. The older the car, the lower the value. So this might be a car that is really, really old. You see the age is high. And its value is low. It doesn't cost a lot. This would be a new car or newer car, so the age is very low, but the value is high. Now, just like in everything in real life, you could have a brand new car that is a low value. Maybe it's very small. Maybe it's just not a popular car. So you could have a dot down here. It falls far away from the trend line. Same thing with on the other end, you could have a historic car, one of those really old cars that end up having really high value. But in general, this is a trend, right? The older the car, the lower the value. So let me use the words increase, decrease. As age increases, value decreases. So in a negative correlation, you not only see the dots going down, but when you think of relationships, one is increasing while the other is decreasing, or one is decreasing while the other is increasing. So let's answer this question. In a negative correlation, what happens to one set of variables as the other increases? Can you answer that? It decreases. So when one increases, the other decreases. So I'll write that down. In a negative correlation, you'll have one variable increasing while the other decreases, or vice versa. One decreases while the other increases. So you can have a third scenario, a scenario of no correlation. Some things just don't relate to each other. They have no effect on the other. Take this example, IQ and shoe size. There is no correlation between your shoe size and your IQ. You could have a really big foot and be really smart. You could have a really big foot and have a really low IQ. Same thing is true for small feet. You could have a tiny foot and have a high IQ. You could have a tiny foot and have a low IQ. They have nothing to do with each other. Therefore, you see the dots scattered. You see that there's no general trend. You can't say these are going up or going down. They're just scattered all over the place. No correlation. So when you see the dots scattered, there's no relationship between the variables. All right, we're going to look at some more examples of relationship between variables and try to figure out whether they're positive, negative, or no correlation. So I'm going to pull out some scatter plots here, and I want you to see if you can identify them as positive, negative, or maybe they have no correlation. And you can pause the video if you need more time to think. Take a look at this scatter plot here. What do you think? Positive, negative, or no correlation? Here we see the dots going down, so hopefully you answered that this is a negative correlation. Now let's take a look at another one. What do you think about this one? This is a positive correlation. We'll put that one over here, positive correlation. You can draw yourself a couple of examples if you want to have these in your journal. What do you think, positive, negative, or none? The dots are going up. This is a positive correlation. What about this one? The dots are going down. It is a negative correlation. So the only one we have left is showing no trend, so there is no correlation or no relationship. You can feel free to write these down in your notes, and I want to say a few things about this. In these two, you see the dots are very tight. The dots are very close together. I mean, I could almost connect these. I'm not going to. We don't connect the dots in a scatter plot. But this means that there is a very close, tight relationship between these variables. Whatever these variables are, there's a very strong relationship. Same thing here, a strong positive, a strong negative. And these over here, even though they're positive and negative, it shows a weaker relationship. There is a relationship, but it's a little bit weaker, not as strong. So this is a weak positive relationship. This is a weaker negative relationship, but there are relationships there. So I just wanted to point that out. Sometimes the tighter the dots are together, the closer the variables are related. How about here? What trend do you see? Trend is another word for correlation. You've also heard me use the word relationship. What trend do you see here? Positive, negative, or none? If you said C, none, you are correct. There's no relationship here. The dots are kind of going up here, they're kind of going down. There's no relationship, nothing strong enough. What do you think about here? Positive, negative, or none? If you said B, you are correct. This is a negative relation. The dots are going down. Negative. How about this one? This one has some words on here. Weeks on diet and pounds lost. If you said A, you are correct. This is a positive relationship. So the longer you're on your diet, the more pounds you're going to lose. I'm going to try to use the words increase, decrease, and I would encourage you to do the same. The more you use the words increase, decrease, easier it'll be to identify. So, as weeks increase, pounds lost increase. Let's put another one. Test scores and study time. This is a good one to know. You probably already know it. What do you think? Positive, negative, or none? This is a strong, positive relationship. You can almost connect the dots. The more you study, the higher your test scores are going to be. And here's what this says here. The longer the person studies, the better the test score. Positive relationship. Okay, now you can also identify relationships without actually seeing a scatter plot. Let's read a scenario, a real life scenario, and see if you can figure it out. Determine whether the scatter plot of the data for the number of cups of lemonade sold at a concession stand and the outside temperature might show positive, negative, or no correlation. So think about that for a moment. You're selling lemonade. Do you think there's a relationship between the temperature outside and the number of cups of lemonade you're going to sell? And if there is a relationship, is it positive or negative? Think about that. So, I want you to think in terms of increase, decrease. So let's talk on two variables is lemonade sold and temperature. Let's think about this. As temperature goes up, what do you think the lemonade sales are going to do? Hopefully you said they're going to go up. As it gets hotter, more and more people will get thirsty and want to buy lemonade. So we're seeing an increase here. And the opposite is also true. As the temperature goes down, you know, on a really cold day, people are not necessarily going to want to stop and buy cold lemonade. So as temperature gets lower, then lemonade sold will get lower. So this is, as you hopefully have already get, a positive relationship. As one variable is increasing, the other variable is also increasing. Or as one decreases, the other decreases. If you have increase, increase, or decrease, decrease, it's positive. If you have increase, decrease, then it's negative. Let's look at one more. I believe I have one more. This is kind of an exit ticket from this video. Explain whether a scatter plot of the data for birthday and the number of sports played might show positive, negative, or no relationship. Pause the video. Feel free to read it again to yourself and tell me what your answer would be. Write it down in your notes. Unpause the video when you're ready. Okay, so the relationship between birthday and sports is none. There is no relationship. You could have a birthday in the spring and play a lot of sports. You could have a birthday in the fall and still play a lot of sports. There's no relationship between when you were born and the number of sports you play. So this is a no relationship. No relationship. The dots would be scattered everywhere. Okay, so hopefully you were able to take some notes. Look back and at your notes and make sure you have a picture, at least one little picture of a scatter plot that has positive, one that has a negative, and one that has no correlation. And hopefully you got definitions for those three situations in a scatter plot. Bring those notes tomorrow and I'll see you then.